Good morning. Good morning, traders. How are you all doing today? Karibuni sana. Glad that you could all join us this fine Thursday morning. Hope everyone has had a great week. Hopefully, at least the week ends up getting better as we move on. So, I guess we're a good number now. See a lot of familiar names, so we should be able to start. So, hello everyone. How are you doing today? My name is Mitch Kanyaru, a trader with Afriforex. I want to welcome you to another Afriforex daily analysis session. Now, during these webinars, we as the Afriforex team, we identify what trading opportunities we will be looking at taking for the day, and we do end up sharing that information with you. So as usual, we do have John, who is here in the back office, still part of the Afriforex team. So he will be here to assist you in whatever questions or queries you might have. So feel free to ask those questions either in the Q&A section or in the chat box. Even if you are watching on YouTube, feel free to use the chat box. I should be able to get a response on that. So let's jump straight into it. So as usual, I'll start off with sharing my screen. Just give me 1 second. So my screen is clear. So as usual, we'll start off with our watch list. Now, this is our watch list for yesterday and today. So as you can see, now yesterday, our focus was looking for selling opportunities on the euro, the British pound, as well as the US dollar. And we were looking to mix and match those three pairs with the pairs on the buy side. So that's with the New Zealand dollar, the Australian dollar, the yen, the Swiss franc, as well as the Canadian dollar. Now today, you can see there has been a slight change. We're still going to be looking for selling opportunities on the euro, as well as the British pound. However, you can see the Japanese yen has moved to the sell side. In similar situation, the US dollar that we did have for a sell has moved to the buy side. So this is going to be our watch list for now. Let me just say that for now, because we do end up having a number of fundamentals coming out today. You can see we do have some Swiss franc fundamentals coming out at 9:30 or so, around 21 minutes, as you can see. A lot of euro fundamentals and British pound. So at least during the euro session, we do end up expecting some volatility. And as usual, on Thursdays, we do end up getting the unemployment numbers for the US. So we do end up expecting as well some good volatility as well during the US session. So hopefully today will be an action-packed day. So let's just see what ends up happening based on the pairs that we'll end up looking at. So as usual, we'll start off with the pairs that we did have yesterday that we're not going to be looking at today before we do end up looking at a few screenshots that we did manage to get. Then we will focus on today's pairs. So looking at the pairs for review, we'll start off with the US dollar pairs. Now, the US dollar pairs really did go the opposite side. Remember, yesterday, our buyers were looking for selling opportunities, but the strength really did come in. You can see the three areas that John had pointed out, ideally looking for selling opportunities within this area. Now, for those of you who are new, the red support and resistance area means that is our line in the sand, meaning if the price passes that level, that means that that trade that we're looking for is no longer valid. So you can see the price during the London session was still holding within this small support and resistance area. And you can see the illustration that we did want, that John had pointed out, hopefully a pullback within this seller's area before we did end up getting the price coming down lower. However, we can see the price ended up getting a lot of strength, the US dollar pairs. You can see once it did reach the upside, remember, we need the price to actually hold above to confirm that the level has been broken. And you can see the price did end up holding to the upside, and at 3 o'clock, holding above within this support and resistance area. You can see it just came back to this level right here before it ended up taking off to the upside. So there's a lot of US dollar strength. And unfortunately, that's why this is a pair that fell off our watch list yesterday and is not going to be on our watch list for today. Now, next pair we did have was the US dollar against Canadian dollar. Similar situation, our bias here was to look for selling opportunities. Now you can see the three areas that we had pointed out, looking for the potential selling opportunities. Now, during the London market open, the price is just holding within this particular area. What we did want was a pullback to come in within the support and resistance area for us to look for a selling opportunity, which can see nothing really happened, especially during the London session. The price just kept on ranging, no big boy coming in. Now, at 3 and 4:30, the price attempted to try and come down lower, could not really go any lower within this particular area. It seems that we were in a small range. You can see bouncing between this level and this level right here. But after 4:30, you can see once the price did break to the upside, you can see it managed to continue going up, as well as during the Asian session. You can see this was an area that we did want to potentially look for a selling opportunity. You can see the illustration there where we wanted, if we did, the price did end up probing to the upside and coming back in. If the price was actually going to fall below, could have actually looked for a selling opportunity, but the price actually came back, held above, and you can clearly see where the price is at right now. Just because also the price is back within this aggressive area and you can see some sellers, the price could end up still coming down. However, there is added risk to this pair. And that's the reason why this is a pair that's going to be off our watch list for today. Now, looking at the other US dollar pairs, it's a similar story. You can see the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. Our buyers here want to look for buying opportunities. The line in the sand in terms of the red support and resistance area was right here. You can see the illustration that John did one. Now you can see during the US session, actually, from 3 o'clock, the price actually started grinding to the downside. But at 4:30, that's when it really got the strength to the downside. That was mainly the US dollar showing a lot of strength. And you can see the price confirmed that it was actually holding below. Now, at that point in time, it did fall off our watch list. You can clearly see how far the price has come down. So that's a lot of US dollar strength. And that's the reason why this pair did fall off our watch list yesterday. And it is not on our watch list for today. Now, there was a similar story that did end up happening with the yen pairs. Similar situation with the yen as well as the US dollar. And remember, our buyers here wants to look for selling opportunities. The main reason was because the way the price did end up coming down very aggressive. You can see there was some huge moves to the downside. There's a pullback, wanted to see how far the market will actually come down. But you can see the price has managed to go all the way back within this main seller's area right there. And you can see once the price did breach this area to the upside, just to make quickly, you can see once it breaches this area to the upside and the price was holding above, the pair did fall off our watch list. Just because you're seeing the price is coming down now, that don't necessarily start jumping in on your selling opportunities. This is mainly something to do with the British pound pairs, which you'll end up having a look at. The British pound is definitely showing some weakness. That's the reason why this pair is coming along. However, due to the fact that the yen is not necessarily showing that weakness as well, that's why there's a pair that falls off our watch list. Now, moving on to the next yen pair, we did have similar situation with the British pound against the Japanese yen. We're looking for selling opportunities. You can see the price is all the way down within this particular area. Wanted to see whether or not we could end up getting the price coming back within this particular area. You can see the illustration that John had pointed out. As the price breached the upside, we wanted to see if it could come back in and hold below. The fact that it breached the upside and was actually holding above that pair, at least at that point in time, there was no selling opportunity for us. And you can see the buyers really did take off to the upside. Now, we're back within the seller's area, and we wanted to see, hopefully, the big boy sellers reacting. But once it did reach the upside and held above, this pair did fall off our watch list, and you can clearly see the way the price has continued going up high, especially if you look at the 1 hour time frame. It was based on this huge move to the downside. So we're thinking that the price was potentially going to pull back in this area or potentially be in some sort of range, but you can see how aggressive the price has gone to the upside, potentially coming back within this seller's area. You can see maybe this is the true support and resistance area where this was just a probe. Even though the price is back within that location, this is a pair that adds extra risk to us, and that's the reason why we would not be looking for any trading opportunities on the euro against the Japanese yen today. Now, moving on to the next currency pair we did have, which is the Australian dollar against the US dollar. We can see the same correlation coming with all these US dollar pairs. Yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. During the London market open, or in fact, the Frankfurt market open, the buyers did end up starting to attempt to try and come to the upside, but you can clearly see how much they struggled in comparison to the way the seller came down. After that, you can see at 3 and 4:30, the seller started showing some aggressive reaction. So even though the price kept on holding within this area, remember, we need a big boy to actually move the market. So that's the reason why we keep on pointing these times, 10, 3, and 4:30. 10 o'clock, we want to see, are the London big boys going to move the market? Similar situation with 3, are the US big boys going to move the market? Because with the US session, it's either going to move at 3 or at 4:30 when the New York Stock Exchange opens. So in this situation, none of that happened, either 3 and 4:30, but it seems that during the Asian session today, that's when you can see the price had started continuing to come down lower. So unfortunately, there's a pair that is off our watch list for today. So as you can see, those are the few pairs that we did have yesterday that we're not going to be looking at today. So before we do jump onto today's pairs, let's have a look at a few screenshots that we did manage to get. So we'll start off here with Alvin. Alvin, have to see a screenshot here. You did end up getting some nice trading opportunities. It seems you were fully aware of that US dollar strength that did come in, because it seems you did end up taking advantage of that. Start off here with the British pound against the US dollar. Very nice sell right there at the top. If you're following the market structure, the top of the range, very nice selling opportunity there. Price coming down very well in your favor. Very good placement of your stop loss. You can see these are the sellers who started pushing down. So having your stop loss above there does guarantee your trade has space to actually move. You don't want to end up entering a trade, moving your stop loss, because we have experienced that a lot of times, and that's the reason why we keep on pointing these things out. Where if you end up moving your stop loss lower to try and secure, you'll find that the price ends up coming back to a support and resistance area, stopping you out, then you find the price continuing going. So you don't want to necessarily be kicked off the trade before it actually ends up making the big move. So having your stop loss within this area, you can see this is where the price, after coming down, got a pullback before actually breaking to the downside. So very, very well done on this trade out there. So also next, we did manage to end up grabbing a selling opportunity on the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. Similar situation, using the US dollar strength. Very nice sell right there. Price coming down in your favor. Very good placement of your stop loss as well. Very, very good trades on this trade out there. So also last but not least, we also did catch the euro against the US dollar. Seems that the price was ranging. You did catch the sell within a seller's area. So very, very well done on that. So actually it seems you did end up grabbing a buy first of all, price getting back within that area, then you grab the sell. So very, very good trading for this trade. Alvin, keep up the great work that you're doing. As you can see, the price has continued going down lower. So very, very well done for those trades. So also next, we did get Dan Pickett. Have to see a screenshot here as well. We did end up grabbing a buying opportunity on the NAS 100. We do know you love trading your indices. So very nice buy. As you can see, within the extreme area where the buyers are, price has already started coming up in your favor. But still, stop loss is already above your entry. I do end up hoping you manage some of your trade based on the fact that this market could have been potentially in some sort of range. But I do know you are one of the snipers as well. So have to see your trade here, and very, very well done. This trade done. So also next, we did get John. You do know John. I mean, he has been giving us the presentation the past few weeks, couple of days. So he did manage to grab a selling opportunity on the euro against the Swiss franc. Very nice sell right there, as you can see. After the price did end up probing back in a seller's area, we did end up getting a slight pullback before the market started going. And you can see the trade management where the stop loss is already below your entry, making sure that that trade is risk-free. So very, very good job on that trade, John, as well. So remember, guys, if you do manage to save any setups based on the things that we do share, feel free to send them into us. There should be a link right there in the chat box, or sorry, our contact details right there in the chat box. If you are watching us on YouTube, there should be a link down there, or in the description, you should find our contact details. Feel free to reach out to us, even if it's not necessarily the screenshots, even if it is for anything else, we'll be sure to help and try and assist you in whatever way possible. So let's jump onto today's pairs. So as usual, we'll start off with this situation. We'll start off with the euro pairs. We'll mix and match them with all the pairs on the buy side. So the euro, New Zealand dollar, euro, Australian dollar, until all the way to the euro against the US dollar. And we'll do the same thing with the British pound as well as the Japanese yen before we do have a look at the indices as well as gold and silver. So let's start off with the euro pairs. So we'll start off with the euro against the New Zealand dollar. Now, on this currency pair, yesterday our bias was to look for selling opportunities. It is still the same situation today. We can see the three areas that we were looking for those selling opportunities. However, during the London session, the price was approaching this seller's area. Wanted to see whether or not the big boy sellers were actually going to come in. You can see John's illustration right here. However, nothing much happened. You can see at 3 o'clock, we're hoping to see maybe some big boys, but the big boys actually started pushing it to the upside slightly. And the price was holding. And you can see once it did end up breaking to the upside, you can see as the price came up and held above. Let me just quickly illustrate. You can see as the price came to the upside, and once it confirmed that that level was broken by the fact that the price was holding above, it did fall off our watch list yesterday. However, it is still on our watch list for today. We have adjusted the levels. It seems that the market were pulling back to a very rather extreme area before we're potentially going to be able to find these selling opportunities. But this has something mainly to do with the New Zealand dollar, where it wasn't necessarily showing that bias that we did end up wanting. However, we will still be looking for those selling opportunities today. So we'll be focusing on these three areas. Aggressive sells right there. And we can start seeing that the buyers are potentially slowing down within that particular area. But we'll be focusing on these three levels. Now, look at the story of the way the buyers are coming in. You can see quite aggressive at that point in time. No trading opportunity. Good reaction of the sellers. Now look at the way the buyers are coming up. And now look at the way the sellers are starting to push. You are starting to see some sort of fight coming in within here. So let's wait to see what ends up happening. Potentially, you could end up even watching out for this particular area. You can see the price seems to be holding, or some buyers are holding within that area. You don't necessarily get your selling opportunity within the top area there. If the price ends up breaking this area to the downside, you do see the price holding below, there could be a selling opportunity within that area. But remember, make sure you manage your trade within these problem areas. However, if you can get the price breaking and holding below, we should be able to continue looking for our selling opportunities on the euro against the New Zealand dollar. But similar situation, if the price does end up breaking this area to the upside and it holds above, then remember, this pair will fall off our watch list. So I hope that's pretty clear cut on what we're looking to do on the euro against the New Zealand dollar as we move on to the next euro pair, which is the euro against the Australian dollar. Now, on this kind of pair, yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. It's still the same situation today. Now, you can see the three areas that John had pointed out, and yesterday where the price was. You can see that we did end up getting some sort of probe where it looked as if it was breaking this area to the upside, never held above. It actually came back down and was actually holding below. So if you did end up looking for a selling opportunity within that area, you can see the price still did manage from this particular area right there, managed to get all the way down within this particular location, but you can see how much it has actually struggled. However, if we're looking at the overall market structure, it does seem that we're potentially in some sort of range. You can see how many times we've bounced off these levels, even though we haven't necessarily gone up within that area. We could potentially still be coming all the way to the top before we're able to look for the sell. So if we're following that market structure, it's very interesting to see what ends up happening today, but we'll still be focusing on the exact same levels that we did have yesterday. So aggressive sellers right there at the top. So aggressive sellers right there at the top. So obviously that's the best place to look for your selling opportunities, especially if the market structure is ranging. Best place to look for your sellers right there at the top. But right now, since we're back within a support and resistance area, you can see how the bars are attempting to go to the upside, not really holding above. You can see the way the price still seems to be coming down. If you do get the price coming back in and this ends up being probed, similar situation to yesterday, the price actually comes back in where it's actually a proper sell to the downside. You can see these are the buyers who actually push it up. We do end up getting the price coming in and holding below, then we could find a nice potential selling opportunity there. But remember, watch out for the market opening times, 10, 3, and 4:30. We could end up finding some nice selling opportunities here on the euro against the Australian dollar. So let's move on to the next euro pair that we do have. So here we have the euro against the Swiss franc. Now, yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. It is still the same situation today, still looking for sells on this pair. You can see the three areas that John had pointed out for us to potentially look for those selling opportunities. But remember, when we were discussing this market yesterday, the price is all the way down here within this particular bias area. Remember, we did need one of two things, either a breach to the downside, and if we did get the price breaching and holding below, there could have been a very nice selling opportunity there, or we did end up getting a pullback. You can see in this situation, we actually started getting the pullback throughout the London session, price coming back in. You can see within the same illustration that John had pointed out, and I think that's the reason why you can see, I think that's the reason why he actually took the same trade right there on the euro against the Swiss franc. Once the price did probe to the downside and the price was holding below, and you can see that was around 4:30 during the New York Stock Exchange Open. It lined up with where the trade could be taken. And you can see, even though it did end up holding for quite a bit of time, you can see the price has attempted to start coming down a bit during the Asian session. Let's wait to see what ends up happening with this candle right now. But remember, we don't focus on active candles, right? So overall, the bias here is still going to be the same, looking for those selling opportunities and still focusing on the same areas. So aggressive sells right there at the top. We do have the semi-conservative area right here in the middle. You never know what the market structure could potentially turn into, especially the fact that the price has actually held between these two levels. It could potentially be in some sort of range. So just because the price hasn't yet gone yet, we could still be looking for our selling opportunities within this particular area. So right now, let's wait to see what ends up happening. Could end up getting this price potentially giving us a pullback. Right now, as the price is coming in, let's see if we end up getting something similar to what we had happening yesterday. Maybe these were not enough sellers. Maybe it might need to spike a bit higher, incite a few more people, because as soon as the price goes above this, guaranteed very many people are going to start looking for buying opportunities. And ideally, that's at least not you guys. So wait to see what ends up happening. At that point in time, if you see the sellers coming in quite aggressive, then we could end up finding a very nice selling opportunity, especially if the price is able to hold below within this particular area. So let's wait to see what ends up happening, but ideally that bias is still the same, looking for those selling opportunities on the euro against the Swiss franc. Now, moving on to the next kind pair we do have the euro against the Canadian dollar. Now, yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. Now, what we wanted to see, you can see the three areas that we had pointed out. We're hoping to see if the price would actually give us more of a pullback to come in before we're able to look for those selling opportunities. But it seems nothing happened during the Asian session. Similar situation during the London session. You can see from 10, price was just ranging. But if you notice from 3 o'clock, price back within a seller's area, top of the range, the price actually started coming to the downside. And you can see once we did end up breaking this small range, we just put a quick level right here. You can see this was the level that the price was holding within. Once the price was able to break that area to the downside, you can see it did manage to get a pullback within that area, holding below. And that was just before 4:30. And you can see the price did manage to actually continue coming down lower. So today, we've adjusted the level slightly, but the bias here is still going to be looking for those selling opportunities. So we'll be focusing on these three areas. So our aggressive sellers area is right there at the top. So as long as we're holding below this red support and resistance area, our bias is going to be looking for selling opportunities. Now, based on that, you can see right now we're back within this middle support and resistance area. After the price has come to the downside, We're getting a pullback, and especially if you compare how the sellers came down, how quickly they did come down, and compare how the buyers are coming in. Even look at the size of the candle. They do seem to be struggling. And remember, the market never just goes straight up and straight down. There's usually some sort of transition phase. And you can start seeing after coming to the upside, it was going up. Now we're starting to end up entering into some sort of small range. Hopefully, if we do get the price breaking and holding below, then we could end up finding a very nice selling opportunity here on the euro against the Canadian dollar. So I'll be very interested to see what ends up happening here. Waiting for these big boy sellers. You can see the buyers have attempted to go up, but the price has come down. Let's see if we can end up getting the price actually holding below within this particular area. Could end up finding a very nice selling opportunity on the euro against the Canadian dollar. So let's watch out for the times that we keep on mentioning, 10, 3, and 4:30. So hope that's clear on the euro against the Canadian dollar. As we move on to the next and last euro pair that we do have, right here we have the euro against the US dollar. I think this is one of the trades, Alvin, we did manage to get right there at the top. So very good job on that trade. So today we're going to be joining you on this and still be looking for selling opportunities. So we identified 3 areas of interest. Just based on the market structure, these areas would definitely seem as if these would be the best places to look for those selling opportunities. So right now, you can clearly see we're back within a buyer's area, or at least we're within a buyer's area, attempting to break this area to the downside. Remember, I've said attempting because we need to get proper confirmation that the price is actually going to go below. I know John has pointed out not such a big fan of these conservative entries. Similar situation, not really such a big fan because we want to end up getting a higher price. If we want to sell, don't sell at such a low price. We'd rather sell at a high price in order for us to actually make some profit if the price actually comes down. So in this situation, let's wait to see what ends up happening. We could end up finding, especially the way the price has come down, might not necessarily be very convincing, especially if the price comes back in and holds above, then chances are we could even still be coming back within this area before we're able to look for those selling opportunities. However, be careful about this one or take note of it, because if you do end up seeing the price actually holding below, could end up actually finding a very nice selling opportunity. But even if you do end up grabbing a sell here, this area where the buyers have pushed up from, why have they only pushed up from there? You can see whenever the price actually breaks a level, look at how far it goes before the pullback. So when it ends up just doing something small like this ends up being for some concern. This brings out some concern. So just watch out for this level. So even if you do manage to grab yourself there, this is an area you need to watch out for. We've seen many times in the charts where the price actually looks as if it's going to the downside, it just bounces off here, then there's a similar situation to what we were looking at within that particular area. But let's wait to see what ends up happening on this, but do take note of those pairs, or at least those areas on the euro against the US dollar. So that's it for all the euro pairs. As you can see, we've mixed and matched the euro with all the pairs on the buy side. So let's do the same thing with the British pound as well as then the Japanese yen. So as I pointed out, the British pound pairs are moving, and you can see the fact of the way the prices are quite coming down quite aggressively. There's a lot of weakness coming in the British pound pairs. But before we end up focusing on this, we do call those emotional candles because everyone focuses on that. Let's read the story of what ended up happening yesterday to actually figure out what we could have done. So yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. Still is the same situation today, but you can see the 3 areas that we had pointed out, mainly because the market seems to be in some sort of range, bouncing between these 2 levels. As the price came back within this seller's area, and you can see during the London session, we ended up getting some sort of probe when the price was coming back in. So we wanted to see how this price is actually going to end up reacting within this area. You can see the price is actually holding. We're actually even looking for a selling opportunity on this. But as soon as the price managed to actually break this area to the upside and held above, this pair did fall off our watch list, and you can see the price did manage to continue going to the upside. Now, if we do end up going to a higher time frame, on the 1 hour time frame, you can see the price managed to pull back all the way to the main sellers who were responsible for bringing this price down lower. Seems it needed that deep of a pullback before actually coming to the downside. So unfortunately, even though we're focusing on these areas, you can see how aggressive the sellers do seem to be pushing to the downside right now. So overall, we definitely want to sell. This definitely is showing us that big boys are there. However, please do not jump in on selling opportunities right now. This would be a very dangerous game. This is chasing the market. I don't think you'd be chasing after a car if it's really moving at full speed. You'd have to wait for it to stop before you're able to get in. So it's a similar situation right now as the prices have really come down. Do not jump in on yourself, because the main thing we'll always ask ourselves is, where are you going to put your stop loss? Remember, we always trade with a stop loss because risk is the only thing we're in control over. Profit could end up really going quite far. But as long as we're in control of our risk, we should be okay. So right now, as the prices come down lower, let's wait to see what ends up happening. Possibly end up focusing on the levels that we did also end up having yesterday. So even though the price has gone up, you can see as the price came down lower, we ended up getting a small hold below this area as the price has continued coming down. Continues coming down lower. Let's wait to see what ends up happening. We don't usually have 4 levels, but as the prices are coming down very aggressive, let's wait to see what ends up happening. But for us, in order for us to jump in on any selling opportunity here, we need a pullback. So everyone here is jumping in on a selling opportunity right now. So let's wait to see if we can end up getting either the pullback coming in and holding below here for us to look for ourselves, or be aware the fact that we're breaking this area to the downside quite aggressively, the price could potentially still end up coming back all the way within this particular area, giving us a pullback within that support and resistance area before we're able to look for those selling opportunities on the British pound against the New Zealand dollar. But at least we know the British pound, at least the big boys are interested in selling the British pound. Similar situation, we are also interested in selling the British pound right now. But let's wait for to try and sell at least at a higher price, not at the lowest price, right? So hope that's clear, at least on what our game plan is on the British pound against the New Zealand dollar. Moving on to the next British pound pair, you can see a similar correlation. The British pound pairs are really taking off to the downside. As you can see, yesterday our bias was to look for selling opportunities, just kept on holding within this area. You can see the London session, the price was holding within there. We ended up getting a nice selling opportunity, or at least the price was able to come down lower, not able to go all the way to our buyer's area. You can see we just kept on holding. So yesterday it seems that the big boys weren't fully interested. However, today during the Asian session, it seems that the Asian big boys are definitely interested in selling this back within the same area that we did end up having. And that's the reason why the price was still holding within this area. And we thought that since that's the case, we'd still be focusing on the same 3 levels that we did end up having. However, the fact that the price has really broken this area to the downside, it's a similar situation. We do not want to jump in on selling opportunities just yet. And had to notice, sorry, let me just go up to a quick higher time frame. Had to go all the way to the 4-hour time frame to figure out where exactly are these buyers going. And we did end up finding a major support and resistance area where the price has held below, or at least before. So we'll still be watching out for these sells. However, let's wait for a pullback. So right now, possibly, let me do this. Rather than making you guys confused, let's just adjust. We'll put the red support and resistance area there, and we'll focus on these 3 levels. And the fact that price is back in a buyer's area, please do not jump in on your selling opportunities. Let's wait for a pullback. The fact that we're broken below this area, chances are we could potentially end up getting a pullback coming in, hopefully within this support and resistance area, before we're able to look for those selling opportunities there. But for right now, we do need to be patient and wait to see what ends up happening. Okay? So, but I do end up hoping, Alvin, that you're still holding on to your trade, because clearly the prices have really gone on. Is it also the British pound against the US dollar? But we'll end up having a look at that. So moving on, right here we have the British pound against the Swiss franc. You can see a similar situation. Yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities, and you can see the 3 areas that John had pointed out for potential sells. Now it seems that the market was on a pullback throughout. So from the Frankfurt market open, you can see the price continue grinding to the upside. Wanted to see whether or not we could end up getting a reaction within the seller's area. Nothing happened there. You can see the price managed to continue going all the way back within the main seller's area. And if you do notice the time, that was around 3:30 or so, when news events usually end up coming out, you can see the price did manage to come down, giving us a nice selling opportunity right there. But this was a sign that the big boy sellers were possibly back. As you can see, as far as the aggressive sellers came in, look at the way the buyers came in. They were definitely struggling within that area. And you can see the sellers now have managed to actually come to the downside. So overall, our bias on this pair is still going to be looking for selling opportunities. And you can see the reason why we say do not chase the market. Now imagine all those sellers who are selling down here. Look at how far the price has actually been able to spike up to before attempting to come down. So do not chase the market. That's how many new traders end up losing money, where they think that the market is going to go and there's FOMO. I mean, it's similar situation. If you go for fishing and you see a fish running away, you're not going to jump in there to swim to try and catch it. It's a similar situation. Let's wait for the price to actually come back within a nice area, at least a pullback. Let's do it safely for us to look for ourselves. So right now, the price is holding within here, and possibly this huge gap, as we're seeing, with a gap coming in, possibly has something to do with the Swiss franc pairs. Remember, we did end up having some fundamental news at 9:30. So we end up quickly looking at that. You can see we do have some Swiss franc weakness. So Whether or not that weakness will actually affect us, let's wait and see. But for now, definitely we'll still be looking for selling opportunities, but there's definitely some caution. We'll end up having a look at the other Swiss franc pairs to end up determining whether or not it should still be on the buy side or should it move to the sell side. But for right now, let's watch out for those three levels on the British pound against the Swiss franc. Now, moving on to the next pair we do have is the British pound against the Canadian dollar. You can see the British pound pairs are really, really running away, and they're really moving quite a number of pips. You can see just this move already is over 120 pips. So yesterday, Bass was to look for selling opportunities. It did not necessarily give us much of an opportunity. You can see what the big boys did, which was pretty much nothing. You can see throughout the whole day, this is all they could do. Even though they attempted to try and come down lower, and you can see that was at 3 o'clock, we never managed to end up getting the price actually holding below. So you can see the price managed to come back within the same area within that we're looking for those sells. It seems that the big boys yesterday were clearly not interested, but today the Asian big boys definitely are interested in bringing this price down lower. So we're going to definitely be looking for selling opportunities. Now end up having to adjust the level slightly because you can see we still had our three levels based on how the price was reacting, but I think we'll end up adjusting based on the fact that this seller seems to be pushing quite aggressive. I think this will be the levels we'll be focusing on today. So just delete one of these levels right here. So we'll still be looking for selling opportunities, but similar situation as I've kept on pointing out, do not chase the market, do not jump in on yourselves right now. Let's wait for a pullback within a nice area for us to actually look for those selling opportunities. So if it manages to go and it continues going, that's okay. We'll always find another opportunity each and every day. So, but for now, let's wait to see if we can end up getting a potential pullback within the support and resistance area or so, maybe getting some sort of probe or price action signal within there before we're able to look for those selling opportunities on the British pound against the Canadian dollar. Now, moving on, next pair, we do have the British pound against the US dollar. Now, this is a trade, I guess, that Alvin didn't manage to grab a very nice selling opportunity. But the fact that we're not looking at it yesterday, that's okay. We will definitely be looking at it today. So yesterday, it seems that it was the US dollar pair that were giving issues, but today, or at least dragging the pair, but today definitely it is the British pound pair. So overall, we definitely want to jump in on a selling opportunity. We're back in a buyer's area. We do not want to sell just yet. Let's wait to see if we can end up getting this pullback coming in. We'll end up pulling back within this particular area for us to look for selling opportunities. But be aware, a number of times when these things happen, the price is going up and up and up. So let's say if the price actually starts giving us a pullback, once it's within this area, guaranteed there are very many people who will still be jumping in on selling opportunities within those areas, just waiting to expect that the price is going to go down. So just because we're expecting it here, don't think that the price cannot go all the way till the top right here, and you will still be looking for selling opportunities. Remember, as long as we're holding below the red support and resistance area, our bias is to look for selling opportunities. And we can see that's something similar to what happened yesterday on the British pound against the Swiss franc, where we were looking for those selling opportunities. The price is all the way down here. It still managed to go all the way to the main seller's area. So don't necessarily doubt that the price can do that. Let's wait to see how far this pullback can come in. And the fact that you're seeing all of the British pound pairs moving at the same time, you definitely know that there's correlation there. And that can end up giving you a clue where you see an opportunity on one, could end up giving you a clue to enter on another pair. So hope that is clear. And you can see we'll mix and match all the British pound pairs and see British pound pairs with all the pairs on the buy side. So right now, let's do the same thing with the Japanese yen pairs before we do have a look at the indices. So we'll start off here with the New Zealand dollar against the Japanese yen. Brand new entry on our watch list. Our bias here is to look for buying opportunities. So overall, we'll be focusing on these three areas to potentially look for those buys. So can see we're back within an area where the sellers, so no buying opportunity just yet, although a pullback does seem to be coming in. So what we could potentially end up seeing, can see as the price is coming in, potentially we could end up getting the price coming down in a bit lower, maybe giving us some sort of probe or price action signal within this particular buyer's area before we're able to look for those buying opportunities. However, if the price is able to go to the upside, breaks above, and when we get the pullback that actually holds, then at that point in time, we should be able to look for those buying opportunities on the New Zealand dollar against the Japanese yen. But do watch out for that particular high. Remember, I did mention that sometimes with a conservative entry, the high that it spikes to, so let's say the fact that it gets to this area, if you do manage to grab your buying opportunity, this area, or at least that high should be the first area you should manage your trade. Because imagine if that was what you were doing, or at least yesterday, today morning, sorry, you can see the price did manage to push up all the way till this area. You can see if we did end up getting that pullback, looking for a buy there, you can see it only managed to get to that high before the price actually started coming down low. So I've seen that very, very many times in the charts. That's the reason why we're telling you just be careful about that, because that's also a possibility, at least of an area where you should manage your trade from. So hope that's clear on the New Zealand dollar against the yen, what our game plan is. Let's wait to see if we can end up getting a pullback. Now, moving on to the next Japanese yen pair, we do have the Australian dollar against the Japanese yen. Similar situation, our bias is to look for buying opportunities. In order for us to buy, we need some sellers. So ideally, we need some discount or so coming in. Right now, as the price is coming in, we could potentially end up seeing that. This could potentially be the start of it. You can see the fact that the price has probed this area, holding below. The buyers don't necessarily seem to be doing much, even though they do seem as if they're attempting now. Let's wait to see what ends up happening. We do get the price breaching and holding above. It could be a buying opportunity, but for us, I think the best situation, at least that I would personally be looking for, is if we could end up getting a more deeper pullback. So potentially within this area, could end up even coming all the way within this particular area right here, and we could end up still looking for a buying opportunity, especially based on the fact that the higher time frame, these markets really did move quite aggressive. So there's some support and resistance areas based on the huge move that it might need to pull back to before the price actually continues. Remember, most people chase the market. So it wasn't an obvious buy down here, but it's definitely an obvious buy to everyone. And if everyone is buying, there's no opportunity for us to make money, or at least no opportunity to make money at all. So let's wait to see if we can end up inciting a few people to come in with the sells before we're able to look for those buying opportunities on the Australian dollar against the Japanese yen. Now, moving on to the next yen pair we do have. Here we do have the Swiss franc against the Japanese yen. This situation, similar situation, our bias here is to look for buying opportunities. But I think this one we might need to end up trading it with a bit of caution, especially remember we just had a look at the Swiss franc fundamentals. It could potentially be weak. So wait to see what ends up, or at least what kind of reaction we do end up getting. But for now, these will be the levels that we'll be expecting. The price is coming down. Let's see how far the price can actually end up coming back down to. The price holds below this area. Let's wait to see if we can end up getting some sort of probe or price action signal within this particular area for us to potentially look for those buying opportunities. But if you are not in the Telegram channel, do make sure you are there. We'll end up informing you whether or not there are going to be actually any changes to the watch list. But for right now, just based on what we're seeing now, there could be some caution with the Swiss franc pairs. So possibly either minimize your risk or maybe just have a look at them, watch them and see how they do end up reacting. So hope that is clear as we move on to the next yen pair. Right now, most of these yens, they really did end up showing a lot of strength going to the upside, especially if I do end up going to a much higher time frame. We'll be able to see the reason why we were expecting the prices to actually continue coming down low. So especially if I come to the 1 hour time frame, you can see this huge move to the downside. So we're thinking that as the price is pulling back up, we're hoping to see that as long as the price is holding below this area, we could potentially look for selling opportunities. But you can see we're attempting to break this area to the upside. So right now we're at a new high. Let's see if the price is actually going to continue doing that, or if we could potentially end up getting a pullback coming in between one of these two areas. But right now, we'll be quite patient on these yen pairs. Let's see what ends up happening. Either a pullback coming in terms of a deeper pullback for us to look for those buying opportunities. So maybe within this area, but most likely it might actually end up coming within this location. However, watch out for the market opening time. So if you find it within this particular area at 3 o'clock, you find the opportunity then. If not, and you find that nothing happens during the US session as well as the London session, there's a high probability it's going to end up working out during the Asian session. This being a Japanese yen pair, they're more active at that point in time. So hope that's clear on at least what we're looking at doing on the Canadian dollar against the Japanese yen. As we move on to the last currency pair we do have, which is the US dollar against the Japanese yen. Now, this is a pair that we did have yesterday, actually, looking for selling opportunities. Can see, we'll just adjust this slightly. The 3 areas that we are looking for the potential selling opportunities from, which remember, as soon as the price broke and held above, this pair did fall off our watch list. And you can see the reason why we have these red support and resistance areas is because we want to be know as soon as possible when we are wrong. Right? So if the price passes certain levels, we know we're wrong, we're not going to be looking for those trades. A lot of traders always, or at least don't like being wrong. They want to be correct most of the time. That's why maybe most traders don't necessarily trade with a stop loss. But remember, we're not trying to be correct here. We're trying to make money. So as long as your process follows and you can be able to continue doing that process, that is what we'll end up doing, at least making money within that situation. So here, our buyers is definitely going to be looking for buying opportunities. Right now, the price is so high up. Let's wait to see if we can end up getting a pullback to potentially end up jumping in on this trade, whether it's within this area or it could come back all the way within this particular location before we're able to look for those buying opportunities. So we'll be waiting to see what ends up happening in both these areas. But remember, watch out for the market opening times, and especially since the fact that we're dealing with the US dollar right here. Remember, we did point out we have a lot of US dollar news coming out. So we have some euro fundamentals, British pound fundamentals, especially a lot of news. You can see from 3:30 when the US market does end up opening, from 3:30 all the way down. You can see all the way till around 5. In fact, all the way till around 11:30 at night. So there's a lot of US dollar fundamentals. And when there's a lot of fundamentals, it brings in more volatility. And volatility is what actually gives us an opportunity to make money. I think if the market was just ranging, bouncing between two levels, the price is not going up or down, there's no opportunity to make money. So when there's a lot of volatility, that actually gives us an opportunity to actually make some money on the charts. So hope that's clear on all the currency pairs. As you can see, we'll mix and match all the pairs on the sell side with the pairs on the buy side. So right now we'll end up having a look at the indices before we look at gold and silver. Remember, if you do have any questions, feel free to ask them on the Q&A section, not necessarily on the chat box. I will be responding to all of those at the end of the webinar. So we'll start off here with the NAS 100, the US 100. Overall, yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. It is still the same situation today. You can see as the price did come down quite aggressive. We did end up getting a pullback or a slight pullback. But the fact that the price was just holding within this area, you can see at 10 o'clock, similar situation even during the London session, 3 and 4:30, the price was just back within this buyer's area. Wanted to see whether or not we could end up getting this price breaking to the downside. You can see at 4:30, that's what it attempted to do. But the fact that the price never held below this pair, at least at that point in time, there was no trading opportunity. And you can see we did end up getting a pullback, coming back all the way within the seller's area. Missed that level slightly, but it seems you can see, we always say buy with buyers, sell with sellers, and it is a buyer's area, not a buyer's price, right? Because everyone will buy at a slightly different price. So as long as you're in that area, you can see the price ended up reacting slightly. Not much of a movement during the US session, but you can see once the Asian session did end up opening, you can see the price has attempted to try and come down lower. So overall today, the buyers is still going to be looking for selling opportunities, still focusing on these three areas for us to find those potential sells. So right now, we're looking at the potential market structure. We do seem like we could be in some sort of range. You can see we do seem to be bouncing between these areas right here. So let's wait to see. Most of the time with these probe, or at least with the fact that when the market ranges, it does probe a lot. And that makes sense with why such things were actually happening. You can see how many times this price has attempted to break this area, all those probes, but has not actually been able to. So overall, that might mean one of two things. Either this price right here within this area is not good enough. And if that's the case, what might need to happen is a few more buyers are needed. So when the price ends up going up, it incites many more people, all those people who are thinking sells, all the people who had their sells there and their stop losses are there. Remember, if you've sold and your stop loss is right up there, if your stop loss is hit, it's like you're buying it. So where your stop loss is, could be very many buy orders. Remember, in order for the sellers to work, we need buyers. If we do end up finding the market inciting very many buyers right there, could end up finding some sort of probe coming in, and we could end up finding a very nice selling opportunity available for us. So we'll be waiting to see what ends up happening. But for right now, the fact that we're below within this area, let's wait to see what ends up happening here. The price is able to break this area to the downside, and we do end up getting the price holding below, then we should be able to look for those selling opportunities on the NAS 100. So hope that is clear as we move on to the next indice that we do have. So right here, right here we do have the Dow Jones. So the Dow Jones yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. Still is the same situation today. One thing I'll always point out is market structure. You can clearly see we do seem to be in some sort of range, bouncing between these two levels right here. So overall, we're still going to be with it. Due to the fact that we're still within the range, our bias in this situation is still going to be looking for those selling opportunities. So we'll be focusing on these three areas right here, same levels that we did have yesterday, to potentially look for those sells. Yesterday, the fact that the price was back, or at least within a bias area, it was there during the US market open. You can see the price was not able to actually break that area to the downside. It seems that we needed more of a pullback. You can see as the price has come up, buyers have not necessarily, sorry, sellers have not yet reacted within this area, but the price does seem to be attempting to hold above. Let's wait to see if we can be able to get the price actually coming back in within this area, giving us some sort of probe or price action signal within that seller's area for us to look for selling opportunities, making sure to manage our trade within this fast problem area. But if we're able to get the price breaking and holding below, then we should be able to target all the way to the bottom of the range, as you can see. So it's pretty clear cut on what we should be looking to do. Selling opportunities, top of the range. If the price breaks and holds above the red support and resistance area, remember on the indices as well as gold and silver, that one were mainly purely technical, meaning it means that just once the price, or at least if the price is able to break and hold above the red support and resistance area, it's not that this pair will fall off our watch list. In fact, we'll actually be able to start looking for buying opportunities. You know, it's a seller's market. As long as the price is holding below the red support and resistance area, the price breaks and holds above, then we are actually okay to start looking for buying opportunities on the Dow Jones. So let's wait to see what ends up happening and hope that is clear. So moving on to the next pair we do have, which is silver. Now, silver, yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. Price is still holding within those same areas, so we're still going to be looking for those buys. You can see the illustration that John had pointed out. Yesterday, the price looked as if it was breaking this area to the downside. Remember what we always keep on mentioning. A level is not broken until the price actually holds below or above that area. So you can see in this situation, the price never held. You can see the illustration that John had pointed out. If the price came back in and was actually holding below, would have been able to actually look for selling opportunities because that's where the red support and resistance area was. But the fact that the price actually came back in, we're hoping to see the price actually pull back within this support and resistance area. But it seems that the buyers were so strong, you can see what we wanted to see. The same illustration that John had pointed out here, where it was able to come to the upside, come back in and hold above. And we can see we even had an alert within this area. We're hoping to see if we could end up grabbing a buying opportunity there. But the fact that these buyers seemed to be quite aggressive, or the fact that they were not, you can see these are the sellers who pushed down, they managed to come down, but the fact that the price came all the way up, they're so strong, the price is only able to come back within this area. And if you do notice the timing, so at 3 o'clock, that's when the price was actually holding. In fact, sorry, let me just say this. From 11 o'clock, the price was holding above, but even though it was holding above, it only took off at 3 o'clock because it needs momentum, that big boy, to actually push it. So if it's not necessarily a market opening time, you might need to at least wait, and maybe that could end up also helping with your timing for your trade. So if you see your trade a bit early, maybe it might not necessarily be time. It might end up actually starting to move a bit later. So maybe 3 or 4:30. That's why we keep on pointing out this time. It seems that 3, the price really did take off to the upside. Remember what we keep on mentioning. Please make sure you manage your trade within these areas. There's a reason for that because we call them problem areas, because they will definitely give your trades a few problems. So in this situation, the price ended up giving us some major issues right there at the top. And this is just around 4:30. You can see the market opening time really did take effect. You can see the price came down. What we wanted to see in this situation, and this also gives us another confirmation. Remember what we keep on saying. A level is only broken when the price actually holds below or above. So the fact that the price came all the way up right there, you'd think that this level right here has been broken, but you can see as the price came back down, it never actually held above. It came back and actually held below within this area. So overall, that level was not broken, even though you can see it has attempted right here to come back in. So we'll still be focusing on the same 3 levels that we were looking at yesterday. So aggressive buyers right here. So as long as we're holding above this area, we're still going to be looking for buying opportunities. Right now, we're still holding below this particular area. So since we're looking for buys, we do not want to jump in on a buy at a seller's area. So the main thing that we should be waiting to see within this area is either one, a pullback coming in, could end up coming back all the way back down to our buyers, remember, but also take note of the area where the price reacted from yesterday. Just because we have the red SNR here, watch out for this location. If they reacted from there before, there's potential for them to react from there again. So let's wait to see what ends up happening. We could end up finding a buying opportunity there. But right now, the fact that within a seller's area, we do get the price actually going to the upside. And when we get the pullback, the price is actually holding above, then we should be able to find a very nice buying opportunity. Remember, make sure you manage your trade within this area where there are sellers. So hope that is clear for silver and what our game plan is there. So we move on to the last pair that we do have, which is gold. Now in gold, yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities, which is still the same situation today. Nothing much happened within the market. You can see the same areas that we were looking at yesterday are still being respected. The main sellers area at the top, We do have a support and resistance area here, as well as the main buyers, or at least another major problem area all the way down here. So yesterday, nothing really much happened because you can see the price did seem to be bouncing and ranging within this level. Wanted to see the price actually break this area to the downside and fall below for us to look for selling opportunities. But you can see how many times the price probed. You can see one, two, another one there, there's another one there. Here it looked as if it attempted to try and hold below, but could not actually do that. Even though you can see the price did seem to be in some sort of range, just bouncing between these levels. If you had taken note of that, maybe looking for a sell at the top of the range, and you can see the price is at the top of the range at 430. You can see it attempted to come down, not really able to come down to the major level, or at least hold below. So overall, we'll still be looking for selling opportunities, still focusing on those same levels. But remember, watch out for this area where the sellers, just because we're looking for the sells all the way at the top, right here, doesn't mean that the sells might not necessarily happen within this location. So wait to see what ends up happening. You can end up grabbing our selling opportunity at the top right there. We wait to see if the price ends up reacting within the seller's area. That's potentially where we could end up finding a nice trading opportunity as well. But we will be waiting to see if we can end up getting the price breaching and holding below to the downside, then we should be able to find a nice selling opportunity on gold. But remember, this red support and resistance area is a line in the sand for us. So if the price breaks and holds above this red SNR, we'll actually be able to start looking for buying opportunities. Would have gotten confirmation that the sellers who are pushing down are no longer there, and it's now the buyer's time to continue taking the price up high. So I hope that is clear on all the kinds of pairs. As you can see, we've mixed and matched all the pairs on the sell side with the pairs on the buy side. So can be able to address some questions in the Q&A section if there are any. I'm not seeing much. I'm seeing Alan Rono, voted thanks. He's saying hi, Mitch, thanks a lot. Karibu sana, Alan. And I'm also seeing Esther Kabiru. Glad to see you here, Esther. And we're saying hello, team. Thank you for the good job. Karibu sana. Well, I guess I'm not really seeing any questions. So I'm guessing things are clear. I hope they are clear for you guys. So this is going to be the watchlist for now. Do make sure you are in the Telegram channel. I'll end up posting. I'm not too sure if there's a link for that. In fact, there should be a link in the chat box. There's one link that should be able to direct you to all our resources. So one link for everything. So if you click on that, you should be able to find everything that we have for. So just a second, just giving a bit of time. There's an issue here, but there should be a link right there where it should end up having all the links. So if you need a link for this is something happening with my my laptop, but anyway, there should be a link right there. There should be a link for the Telegram channel. If you do end up changing the watch list, we'll definitely inform you guys on that. And I guess that's it. Not really seeing any more questions. It seems that fortunately John needed to step out a bit. So I guess that's it from me. Since I'm not seeing any more questions, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. Hope you guys have found value in this session. Hope you do end up making a good amount of tips. And remember, if you do have any questions or any setups based on things that we have done, feel free to send them in to us. That contact detail is not just for sending screenshots. It is for also asking advice. You can end up giving us a call. We'll be here to support you in whatever way we can. So once again, thank you guys so much. Hope you guys have an amazing trading day. God bless. Happy trading. And bye for now. Cheers, guys.